That's good. Pull yours back just a little bit. Just out, yeah, out. I'm sorry. Whoa, too far. Right there. So what we have is a fuel tank running board. Jimmy and I came up with this design. Oh, what, Jim? About a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. And we were going to chrome these things, but we couldn't convince anybody in the entire United States that had a chrome shop to chrome them. Couldn't be done. Didn't want to do it. It was too much work. It was too hard. A lot of complaining. And I didn't care how much it cost. I wanted to have some chrome fuel tanks. Didn't happen. So we elected to change the theme of the tanks and the bumpers to a lollipop cherry red powder coat that matches the axles and the suspension pieces. So I think our decision is going to fit well for what we're going to do. So anyhow, we took a Peterbilt fill neck and we cut it out of the big fuel tank. And we had to add another, what, Jim, 3/4 of an inch around the edge of it. So we added about 3/4 of an inch, ground it, finished it all up. Jimmy actually finished it all up for me. And then we matched fit it to a plate under this neck here, and we welded nuts to the back side of that so we could bolt this cool thing on. I like that effect there with these Allen heads. We've got a 1710 U-joint on the transmission side, which came out of the motorhome, and this is a 1610 U-joint. They do not make a slip yoke to go from the large U-joint to the small U-joint. So I had to take the 1710 U-joint yoke and cut it off of this and modify a 1610 and weld it onto the spline assembly. They said it couldn't be done. Well, there it is. It's finished. We did it. So our transfer case is like a 1.5 ton transfer case that come out of a front-wheel drive garbage truck. They ran those back in the 70s. Basically, the rear wheels were independent of each other and there was no axle. That's where they backed up to the dumpster and flipped it in. So that transfer case came out of that front-wheel drive garbage truck as the front end did. And the way it worked is the engine sat over the front axle, the transmission, the drive shaft came out, went into the transfer case and down to the front end. Again, in the rear, we've taken and copied the front and put the sway bar, torsion bar to make the truck behave when we turn corners. We don't get any body roll out of it. And this thing turned out pretty sweet. I'm real happy with that. And then, of course, the rear hydraulic steering is going to be able to give us the ability to maneuver around corners and, you know, drive over the corners of little cars and, you know. And we got the same suspension in the rear as we do in the front with the coilover shocks, the airbags to make everything behave. Because when we put weight in the truck, if we didn't have the airbag, you know, the truck's going to have a little bit of weight in it and it's going to compress down. And as you can see on our rear steering, these are our hydraulic lines. And the way it works is there's a solenoid in there. The solenoid will shift from side to side and put pressure to the one side to push the tire out, and it relieves this side to allow the fluid to go back into the reservoir tank. And the way it works is it's electronic over hydraulic. Basically, I'll have a joystick up in the cab that if I want to go left, I just push the joystick to the left like a Nintendo or Xbox. And when I let off of it, it'll come back and it'll self-center. I don't have the self-centering mechanisms hooked up yet, but pretty much that's the principles of the monster truck guys. That's how they do their rear steering. And then their front steering is off of a, I believe it's called a servo steering, out of like a forklift. It's pretty much the same design. But mine isn't like that in the front. It's an actual steering box. It's hydraulic over mechanical. I'm going to put an 8 kW diesel generator in here for auxiliary power that'll run the sound system, the TV, the satellite, and the air conditioning unit. So I'm going to have about 26,000 BTUs of AC in this thing. So we built this bumper about, geez, I'm going to say 3 years ago. And I don't know what I did wrong, but it's too wide. I have no idea what I was thinking. I want the bumper to end at the edge of the body line, and then the taper kind of follow that same taper at the edge of the bed. So what I've got to do is figure out how much I need to shrink this thing. I think probably 8.5 inches ought to work. So what we'll do is take somewhere in the center of the bumper between these lights, or actually there's two bend lines here. I'll take 8.5 inches out, put it back together, I guess we'll call that shrunk American steel instead of stretched American steel. We were up in Las Vegas a few years ago. We picked up Oscar Goodman, and I'd never been to Vegas before in my life, and we took the red truck up there, the Freedom Express, and ran around Vegas and picked up Oscar Goodman, the mayor, and that was a great time. And I had an idea to change the name of this truck from the Rattlesnake Express, because that was the original name that we picked, and that theme to the Gambler. The Gambler meaning using a Vegas theme within the whole truck. You know, kind of like a mural on the side with a guy with his duster on, his cowboy hat, and the roulette wheel, and some hot chicks around him, and the dice rolling, and you know, kind of shot of the Vegas city lights somewhere on the truck, and the whole inside of the truck with a cool Vegas theme. And I want to place the truck in Vegas using the name The Gambler. I think it'll fit and it'll work. So the Gambler theme fits what we're doing with the truck. I want to place the truck in Vegas. Everything in Vegas is so outrageous. There's so much bling bling, and there's nothing like this in Las Vegas. So theming it as The Gambler, I think will work.